Coming up on this episode of the Entrepreneurial You.
You know, if I'm not looking at me, that means I'm blaming my outside situations and circumstances. And another bad word we use for that is I'm a victim of. I'm a victim of situations, circumstances, conditions around me on the outside, but that's never truly the case. A powerful vision is identifying what we want with clarity, picture form, imagery, where we can imagine that happening.
Hey, it's John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and it's the Entrepreneurial You, the show for dedicated and passionate Caribbean entrepreneurs seeking daily inspiration, brought to you by author, speaker, and award-winning entrepreneur Heneka Watkis-Porter. You must be prepared to ignite.
Welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Heneka Watkis-Porter. And today we're going to be talking about mindset mastery and breaking through self-sabotage to achieve rapid growth. My guest today is Dr. Joseph Drolshagen, also known as the Rapid Growth Specialist. Now, Dr. Joey, as I will be referring to him, has been featured on Fox, NBC, CBS, and USA News, and has been named one of America's top business coaches for 5 consecutive years. With over 28 years in corporate leadership as a VP of sales and a doctorate in psychology, Dr. Joey combines mindset training with innovative systems to help entrepreneurs align their subconscious beliefs with their vision. So, if you've ever felt stuck in self-sabotaging patterns or wondered how to achieve massive results in less time, well, you are at the right place, and I dare say, at the right time. Dr. Joseph Drolshagen, welcome.
Oh, it's great to be here with you today, Heneka. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a really good conversation.
Oh, absolutely. And as a reminder, let me just tell our peak performance community that we are going to be looking at mindset mastery, transforming self-sabotage into rapid growth. Now, the truth is, success isn't just about strategy. It really starts in the mind. And Dr. Joey's subconscious mindset training, the SMT method, what it does is helps entrepreneurs identify limiting beliefs that hold them back while creating habits that accelerate success. Now, today, happily for you, we're going to be unpacking how mastering your mindsets can transform both your business and personal life. Now, I have an icebreaker question for you, Dr. Joey.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I am ready, I think. Let's hear the question first.
All right. What's one mindset shift that had the biggest impact on your own success journey?
My own would be the deserving. I thought if I didn't work super hard and put a lot of effort in, that I didn't deserve whatever it was I was going after.
So in other words, you assign and align your working hard to your worth. So if you work the days when you just felt lazy and didn't want to do anything, then you felt worthless also.
Yeah, even the days when I wasn't willing to trade off my life in order to build a business or things like that, is I felt I didn't deserve it. You know, I had an opportunity come to me when I was 22 years old that started this whole pathway, Heneka, that I had a really big business opportunity, pretty much drop in my lap. And I was so excited for it. But all of a sudden, I started feeling like I don't deserve this. And I let that opportunity pass. And that was a door opening into why was I was so excited about it. How can I not say yes to everything about it? But it was that later on, years, decades later, I would find that it was that subconscious programming that caused that limitation.
All right. So you've kind of opened a can of worms, and we want the worms to come out. So we want to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was a construction company. It was already in operation. It was doing millions of dollars a year. And the gentleman that I knew that owned it was stepping away. He was just ready to retire. And he was giving me the entire business. He was going to stay on for 6 to 9 months to help me to get comfortable with everything and get it going and everything else. And as excited as I was, as much as I was into construction industry before corporate and all that stuff, I just felt like I don't deserve this. And it was probably the first time I was really aware of it, because it was such a big opportunity. And I just let that opportunity pass. I just said, you know what, I can't do that right now. And there was no reason why I couldn't do it right now, though, back then. And it was all that subconscious stuff that wouldn't allow me to continue pursuing it.
Wow, you said those words and the hair on my skin stood on edge.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to believe. But then, thankfully, you didn't stay there. Thankfully, you've moved from that point and you've developed the SMT method. Now,
Yes.
Tell our peak performers, our listeners, what is that exactly?
Yeah, and it's been like that. 22 years old is when I started this journey, and I still continue it on today. And I went through a lot of years trying to understand it and things like that. And it was really like I've been the guinea pig for it, because it was really about fixing my internals once I noticed that. And the SMT method stands for subconscious mindset training. And so a good illustration of this is we have our conscious mind, right? Our conscious mind knows what we want to do, knows how we want to live life, knows what we want to do as an entrepreneur, knows what size of the business, every area of our life it knows. But then the subconscious mind holds the conditioning and is responsible to trigger the brain waves to the actions we take or we don't take. So that 20-year-old man that I was so badly wanted this in my conscious mind, but I could not get my subconscious mind to allow me to take those actions that would have brought that to fruition, because of the limiting and the conditioning and that programming that I had going on with it. So ultimately, the SMT method, it differs from anything I know of coaching wise in the fact that it's not a one size fit all. It's not, here's your toolbox, now go and do these things and live a better life. The journey is set up so every individual client has a unique journey to them based on their desires, based on what they want to experience, based on their programming, based on their limitation and all of that. And so it's working off of the individual basis, not the collective one size fit all type of mentality. So that allows for people to be working within it based on them and their uniqueness, not based on, the collective, which allows them to get results much quicker and longer lasting results. So in other words, with the changes we make, the shifts we make are permanent shifts in the subconscious mind.
All right. So we hear the subconscious mind, we know about the conscious mind, but many times we can relate. Many persons can relate to, the conscious thought. Yes, I'm thinking about this, I'm aware of this, and so on. But usually, as you've alluded to, Dr. Joy, is that the subconscious mind is where it's all at, pretty much. So how do subconscious beliefs impact our ability to achieve success?
Yeah, so when we're going by with limited, like limited programming within our subconscious, we don't perceive ourselves to being able to achieve what we're truly capable of achieving, because it holds us back. It makes sure that our results fit the programming. So I grew up in a very low income family in Detroit, Michigan, and my family, my parents both worked their tails off and everything to keep a roof over our heads and such. And that's the programming I started out with. So as I was going forward into my adulthood, as much as I saw that in their life, and I did never want to repeat that. I started repeating the same thing, and I would struggle regardless of how much income I had coming in. I would struggle in relation. I would struggle the exact same ways they did. And until I understood this process and started learning the things I've learned over the last almost 4 decades, is I had no defense against it. I just had to live within that minuscule scraps of what I truly saw in my conscious mind, what I wanted to achieve. Even in sales early on, I started a sales career in corporate from the ground up, building territories. And for years, I would travel 3,000 to 5,000 miles a week developing territories and make hardly a dent in it even of what I was able to do. And it was frustrating. At one point, I thought about leaving sales altogether and going and doing something else because I was constantly under anxiety and stress that I was going to get let go because I wasn't hitting the marks that they had for me, that we're supposed to hit and such. And then as I started learning these things and as I started shifting that with inside of me, and I started coming out with truly who I am, not what I do. Now all of a sudden, within a year and a half to 2 years, I was landing $18 million, $22 million, $25 million contracts that were year over year contracts. And it was easy and it was fun and it was more enjoyable. And it was because I was able to identify that programming in there and get some help in shifting that to open up to greater potentials happening in my life.
Right. So now it was an acceptance of who you were, not what you did. Right. So the doing from
Yes.
the being, separating that. Take us through a little bit of what that looked like in terms of, yes, you recognize you're not what you do, you are who you are. And the help that you got. Talk to us about the help that you got to transition from that place into acknowledging that I am enough. You're aware I am enough. I am this. Whatever precedes the I am, that I am. So talk to us about that.
Yeah. Now, I will have to say, though, because what took me years and decades to understand, implement, and experience change in, my clients achieve in weeks now with the SMT method. And it was really about identifying what I truly wanted, not what was I going to settle for, but what did I really want? People talk all the time about A plan and B plan. I never operate on that because if we have an A plan and B plan, we're always going to hit B or come closer to B than we will A. So I only work off of that A plan. And so once I was able to do that and start understanding that,
Burn the
even
ship,
in
we
that,
say.
yes,
Right?
yes,
Burn the
exactly,
ship.
yes, yes. So
Yeah.
so as I started understanding that and applying that, all of a sudden, as I was making these shift changes at the subconscious level, I could start seeing bigger potential. I could start seeing bigger opportunities happening. And then once I was doing that, like even in the sales role, once I got an $18 million contract, that just opened up the gateway because now I believed it was possible to get bigger contracts, but achieving that now it just opened up the gateway and opened up for greater flow with it. And it really opened up the 28-year career I experienced in corporate up to a vice president of sales, later on helping organizations in bankruptcy get back to profitability. It was all because of that programming shifts that I made that opened up to those avenues. And the way to make those shifts is first and foremost, it requires an open mind. If I'm not looking at me, that means I'm blaming my outside situations and circumstances. And another bad word we use for that is I'm a victim of. I'm a victim of situations, circumstances, conditions around me on the outside, but that's never truly the case. So an open mind is not, I know, I know, I know. It's what can I take from this and add to what I already know? And I'm giving you some of the little micro steps with it and such, but they're all important in order to really bring about the lasting change. Once I'm in that beginner mindset and I'm open, then all of a sudden, every client I work with, we come out of the gates developing what's called a dynamic vision. And, we know vision boards and we know, like listing out what you want in your life and things like that and stuff. We know all of those things there. And it has that as part of the dynamic vision. A powerful vision is identifying what we want with clarity, picture form, imagery, where we can imagine that happening. To elevate that to a dynamic vision, we add feeling tone to it. How does it feel to live that life, to experience it? How does it feel on your health and well-being, your relationships, your, time, money, freedom, your vocation? Like, how does it feel across your life? And then as we're developing that right there, the SMT method is at its core, it helps us to bump up against that programming that's causing limitation so we can be aware of it. And then from our awareness, we can identify it and then we can start shifting that very quickly to start opening up to that other side.
Interesting, interesting. You've kind of given us little tips here, bits there, nuggets, as it were, for overcoming self-sabotage. We do have a lot of entrepreneurs listening to this show, Dr. Joy. And if anybody says they've never ever gone through self-sabotage, I'll say it lies, right? At one point or another. But for others, for some, it's really, really a struggle, a big thing, like every single day. Not it's not that little voice in your head sometimes, it's that voice in your head all the time for some. How can somebody who's experiencing chronic self-sabotage, as it were, get over it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I work with a majority of entrepreneurs is what I do in my business. Now, if somebody says they're an entrepreneur and they don't do sales, I go, it's impossible. We're all salespeople. If we're raising kids, we're selling. If we're
Oh
in a
yeah. Oh
relationship,
yeah.
we're selling. If you know what I mean, like any negotiation sale, we're selling and stuff like that. So an entrepreneur, here's one of the ingredients right here. If you look at really what an entrepreneur is, it's a person that gets on their journey, right, to that life they want to live, to that life of freedom, the finances, all the whole gamut. They get on that avenue. But so often, people who get into being into entrepreneurship, they go and look for somebody to tell them each step of the way of doing it. But that's not entrepreneurship. That's robotic living. That's more like corporate living than it is being an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is about getting onto that flow and discovering and the adventure of it and the unfolding of it and all the excitement that comes with finding your pathway. That's why the SMT method differs from everything else, because I've done all those, everybody do this and get the same results. It never worked for me. In entrepreneur, what I have to do with most people I'm working with entrepreneurs is help them realize nobody has written a path that's going to be your roadmap. Entrepreneur means you develop that as you go forward into it and you continue to expand that. And so that's one of the big differences. If somebody wants to be an entrepreneur and they're looking for somebody to give them the A, B, and C steps to it, you've stepped outside the realm of living as an entrepreneur. Now, our programming, our conditioning, everything else gears us towards, one size fit all. If you want something, find someone who has what you have and figure out what they did. But what they did isn't going to work for me, or it's not going to work for you. When you find out what works for you, now you've tapped into a power source beyond anything else I know of.
One of the biggest challenges entrepreneurs have, and how self-sabotage manifests itself, is through the charging of a particular rate. So many entrepreneurs struggle with believing that they're worth being able to charge certain amount of money for the products and the services that they offer. Give us a practical step, because I'm sure you've encountered entrepreneurs with that challenge. Give us a practical step how the SMT method would actually help them to get out of that mindset and that frame of mind.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest mindset shifts I help entrepreneurs with really is about, if you want something, you got to trade off your life to get it. You got to work exhaustive hours. You got to go and make it happen and everything else. And it's complete opposite. It's 180 degrees from there. It's true entrepreneurship. But as far as the avenue you're talking about, I work with other coaches as well. And I'll take somebody who's fresh getting into coaching and such, and they want to charge like $60,000-$70,000 for their 6-month package of what they do. They've never had a client or anything else. So I help them to build that vision of that 60 to 70,000. But then we start developing, part of the SMT method is developing systems of accelerating habits. So we're doing things that align to our purpose, that align to us, that there are things that light us up by doing. And we start doing that and build up to that. We don't come out of the gate with $60,000 or $70,000 and say, oh, coaching doesn't work. We build up to that. We get a client, we start doing things, we start taking actions. And as we do, we got that vision, and the tools within the SMT help us to really exaggerate that growth curve and how quickly we get there. So I think part of that whole thing, and again, so many people I talk to say, yeah, well, I was talking to so-and-so at this coaching program I took, and they told me I should come out of the gate at $70,000. You've never coached anybody. You're not even sure your product right now. And so how about we get those things in order very quickly to get you to that $70,000?
And so what of someone who has been doing the work and they have all the fundamentals, but they just need to shift from $1,000 to let's say $10,000?
Yeah, I have hundreds of clients over the past decade that have done just that. I have clients who've gone from $7.5 million as a 13-year high, in 12 months elevated that to over 22 million. or have clients at $300,000 business at 3 million, or a couple $1,000s a month of somebody who, who had been doing it for a while part-time. And we step into that, excuse me, and we get so busy in the entrepreneur side with the business, there's no longer time to go to work. That person went from a couple $1,000s a month to between $47,000 and $57,000 a week in revenue. And it's all about getting that alignment, that dynamic vision I talk about becomes our reality. And that's what the method does, is it helps us develop that. And then that is our reality. Everything else that happens is just hiccups or speed bumps as we're going down the pathway. They're no longer stops or, halting us from the things we light up doing and things like that to help us to move along there rapidly. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to take a break right here, Dr. Joey, and we're going to go into the community connection segment. We'll come right back to wrap up our conversation. But it's time for our community connection. I'd love to hear from you. Remember, this segment is where you get to share your reviews, your feedback, whatever it is. And as we've been having this conversation with Dr. Joseph Drolshagen, I look forward to hearing from you regarding your own mindset shift you've had to get over, the self-sabotage even, right? So I don't want to hear from you about that. But I also want to share with you, as I have been sharing over the last couple of weeks, about, guess what, ta-da, two amazing events, two amazing opportunity for you to connect with our community in person. So first, we're having, again, I'm taking back to Kingston, LeaderCast Kingston, yay. Now, LeaderCast is the largest one-day leadership event globally, and I've hosted it for a couple of years in Jamaica, and we are back again on October 7th at the summit. So that is going to be amazing. We have some amazing speakers lined up right there. You can't afford to miss. Dominic Dawes is just one of them, Andy Stanley, and so many others that will be at LeaderCast. So that's number one. So that's one opportunity. Book it in your calendar for you to come and just interact, engage, and develop and, network with like-minded people. And also, following that in November, it is, ta-da, Lead Her Ship Cruise to the Bahamas, leaving from Fort Lauderdale from November 3 to November 7. So it's an opportunity to network, connect, develop, do some great leadership content, but also to let your hair down, to unwind, and to just have fun as an entrepreneur, as a leader. So reach out to me, Heneka at henekawatkisporter.com, or via WhatsApp, 876-849-2571. If you want to be a speaker, there's opportunity for that as well. So there are just so many things happening on the Community Connection segment front. All right. Before I get carried away, let me come back to Dr. Joey. Dr. Joey, yes. You have been inspiring. You have been sharing a lot of nuggets, and congrats to you on that method that you've developed. We want to hear now regarding the topic, mindset mastery, transforming self-sabotage into rapid growth. Just wrap that up for us with your final thoughts. What have you to say to leave home, in the minds of our entrepreneurs that are listening?
Yeah, I would say to anybody, if you're not achieving beyond what you desire to achieve in your mind, then there's growth possible for you. If you're struggling right now, whatever it is, there's potential for you. But it's hard to just flip it really quick and do it. There's a process to go through to rewire that programming that's causing the limitation. And I'd love to talk to anybody who wants to know more about that, or even who wants to start opening that up for them to do on their own.
Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. And how might my community connect with you, contact you to be a part of whatever it is that you want to share and you are already doing?
Yeah, anybody can reach out to me. I'll put this out there with a special gift, even because this has been such a great conversation. Is anybody that wants to reach out and talk about these a little more can set up a quick 15-minute call with me, and we can get on there. It's not a sales call. The whole intention of the call is to help you start sparking on that hidden potential that's not showing up right now. And anybody can do that at coachwithjoey.com. And as a free gift and bonus, my book is coming out very quickly here on reprogramming the subconscious mind, the SMT method, that goes into great detail. And anybody who sets up that call with me, I'll gift you a copy of the book.
Oh, that is amazing. Free book with consultation. And heard it right here on the Entrepreneurial You podcast. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph Drolshagen. It has been my absolute pleasure hosting you on the Entrepreneurial You podcast.
It's same here, Heneka.
All right, thanks again. So let's get into what's trending now. Studies show that 95% of our decisions are driven by the subconscious mind, and yet most people never address the beliefs that hold them back. Entrepreneurs who invest in mindset training see a 78% improvement in goal achievement rates, making it one of the most impactful areas for personal development. And that's what's trending now. All right. Thank you all so much again. Thanks so much to Dr. Joseph Drolshagen. Thank you, our peak performers, for listening. And for listeners who want to learn more about the SMT method or work directly with Dr. Joseph, then connect with him on social media. Remember the website, coachwithjoey.com. So please connect with him on social media as well. And if this episode resonated with you, and I know it did, then please subscribe to the Entrepreneurial You, leave a rate or review on Apple Podcast or Spotify, and share this episode with someone who needs help breaking through their self-imposed limitations. Remember, success starts in the mind, and sharing is caring, so do share. And I always leave with an affirmation, right? So affirm with me today. I am mastering my mindset and aligning my beliefs with my vision for success. Thank you so much to our sponsors, the Jamaica Stock Exchange, and of course, Heneka Watkis-Porter.com. Take care.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.